Good morning, John. It's Friday. This is not scripted. I hope it makes sense. I will try to edit it. Few things to establish. My name is Jenna. I'm in my early 20s and I have experience and the philosophical views of same. So I realize that not everything I say may be applicable to you, and I realize that some things I say may just remind you of how you used to think and now you think better because you're older and therefore potentially more enlightened. However, I have had a couple of existential crises in my day, so I thought I would share a little bit of what I have come up with in the hopes that it'll help you. The first existential crisis I had was when I was 15 years old and I had to have constructive surgery on my spine. It was very physically painful, and also the philosophical implications of the whole thing kind of broke my brain. It was the first time I really understood that life is not fair. Second one came when I was 18 years old and I was driving alone on the highway and I got hit by a truck and went spiraling across traffic into a ditch all alone in the dark. I didn't have a sprained neck or whiplash. I didn't break any bone. Nothing. I didn't even have a bruise. But psychologically, the whole thing had an effect on me, and that passed. But what stayed with me was the revelation of the total fragility of life. I just felt so like, holy crap, I just dodged a crazy bullet coming from nowhere. Like there was nothing I could have done. From having dealt with these things, which were difficult at the time but have now settled and I've made my peace with them, I thought I would share some of my conclusions with you in the hope that they might help. Maybe you'll agree with them, or maybe in disagreeing with them it will help you to get closer to your own truth. The important part isn't that we're so small and insignificant. The important part isn't that we are so impermanent or that we are basically just borrowed materials that will return to the earth and be recycled after our deaths. We were all born in the dying star, like Thor's hammer. The important part is that we have been given consciousness and therefore agency to either make things better, worse, or keep them the same. We have been granted self-awareness, and that is such an amazing gift. And so it's my belief that despite the fact that we are impermanent and very, very small, we are part of a larger system of organisms that have a responsibility, which is just to try and make things better. It is the fundamental nerd fighter idea of increasing awesome and decreasing world suck. The world is a better place because you are in it. And I hope you know that. I know another one of your concerns was whether or not you should cut back on the number of projects you're involved in because of the worry that the quality of each of the projects will be decreased because there's just so many of them and there's only one you. Maybe, but I'd argue that the quality of what you're doing, at least on a public forum, are already high enough that they're fine. Maybe they're not the best that you can do. I don't know. I'm not you. I'd argue that they're great as they are, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. In summation, we are temporary creatures and it's our responsibility to make the systems in which we live better for having involved us. And so far, John, so good. You're doing a great job. Everyone, I'm sure, is telling you it. I know it must be hard to sometimes grasp because you're in the middle of the cyclone. Be a good wife, be a good husband, be a good father. Those are the only two things you really, really, actually, genuinely have to do. Whatever you choose to do, Nerdfighteria will support you. Life is scary, but you're doing a good job and you have a large support system and you're going to be okay. Even if you're not fully okay right now, you're going to be fine. And I'd argue you're going to be awesome.